Jane's speech tonight is go after it. It's okay. She is testing out the speech. It's in the early stages of development. Please welcome Toastmaster Roxane Hussein.
How much money would you need to consider yourself rich? At one of my workshops, one participant answered, I don't need money. That's not how I measure rich. I'm healthy. I have my friends and family who love me. I'm already rich. And the other participants all nodded their heads in agreement. Popular music put it this way: wealth is of the heart and mind, not the pocket. Well, I say hogwash. Look, the effects of global pandemics, global warming, global economies are permeating every strata of society, leaving us all with uncertainty. How secure are you? Yes, family, friendships, and good health are important, but can you really survive without money? And due to cultural conditioning, the psychology of money and personal wealth has become so polarized that some can be so idealistic that they undercut their earnings in an effort to be altruistic. And that was me, idealistic, living on a meager subsistence. And on the other hand, so mercenary that they take advantage of others simply because they're after the money. An episode at work comes to mind. I was conferring with another advisor on a case design for one of my clients, and I asked his opinion on option A or B. And he said, oh, easy, option A. I like easy. I didn't think it was that obvious. So I asked why. He said, it pays out more. I was horror struck. And I thought, no, the day that I start to look at a client as a dollar sign is the day I'm going to have to step back and think about why I'm really doing what I'm doing. Needless to say, I never worked with that advisor again because our values were clearly not aligned. I do what I do because I'm driven by purpose and I want to help others. I've already shared my why story with you all, so you're familiar with that. But I was doing it at the expense of my own earnings. Then I had a revelation that started to reshape my point of view. So allow me to walk you through it. Thinking of a historic or legendary figure, who comes to mind when you hear the word underdog? Put it in the chat for me. Who comes to mind? Starts with a D, ends with a D, has 5 letters. That's right, David. Thank you, Alex. But did you know that when David took down Goliath, he was motivated by money? Hard to believe. I don't blame you, but stay with me. Let me prove it to you. If we look at the story as told in 1 Samuel chapter 17, we'll find that David does not act to defeat Goliath until he hears what the reward will be. When David hears of the king's promise, he asks for confirmation, and the men repeat to him what he had overheard them say. After which, just to make sure, he asks yet again, receiving the same answer for a 3rd time, that to the man who kills Goliath, the king will give great wealth, his daughter's hand in marriage, and exemption from taxes in Israel. I had never heard the story told that way before, but I read it for myself. When that revelation hit me, it was liberating for me. But it begged the question, is it possible to be both altruistic and motivated by money? Even our language has contributed to the distortion of our attitude on the subject. To illustrate what I mean by that, I challenge you to find a word in the English language that means motivated by money that does not also have a negative connotation of greed. You won't. Let's look again, though, at David's motivation. Great wealth, the king's daughter's hand in marriage, and exemption from taxes in Israel. Is this motivation not as real today as it was in the time of David? Personal wealth, human connection, freedom from government. How important is it to have personal wealth to be able to help where help is needed? Not just to hoard for oneself, but to help others. And that's exactly what David does. He doesn't hoard it for himself. Let me tell you a little side story. David's best friend died leaving a child with a disability. David went out to find this child, and he looked after the boy for the rest of his life. And there was no limit to his generosity toward him. Contrary to what the English language might have us believe, we can now begin to see that it is not ignoble for money to be your motivation in doing the right thing. Money is not a demon. Money is a tool necessary to facilitate our most altruistic goals. Are you going to be like David? Are you going to show up and take responsibility? Anybody can do it if they set their minds to it. And getting the rewards, it's a part of life. The rewards are already on the table. Don't let negative cultural conditioning make you reluctant to claim what's yours. And you can claim it without compromising your values. Give yourself permission to pursue wealth and know that you deserve it. Go after it. It's okay. Toastmaster Power.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hussein.